it's always been issues with players that want to come straight to the NBA, right? Ever since they stopped, but now it's a lot of different things have happened over the course of the last 20 years. But at one point, it looked like players were going to start going overseas. We saw Brandon Jennings went overseas and LaMelo Ball, but that never really went anywhere other than a couple cases. Then OT starts their thing. They're still kind of figuring out how that's going to work out. Do you think that Ignite at some point will be like a primary choice for top high school players to go to instead of going to college?
Hmm. I think it can be. I think we are in a position to be able to facilitate it. I think the what you have now, and I think is a good thing, is them having the option to like make decisions for themselves. So and you always had you always had it. I don't think it has to be, honestly, to that. I don't think it has to be, G League or Ignite or college or anything else over one choice. Like again, like in my time, Tim Duncan stayed 3 extra years of college. He probably could have been the number one pick, 2 or 3 years in a row and came. So like you've always had that, option of, but at that time it was just college or the NBA. And I think now it's,
Well, they stopped. So Jalen Rose we interviewed Jalen Rose. Shout out to Jalen Rose. He had an interesting perspective on his take was that the only sports that don't let players come straight out of high school are sports that are dominated by black people. He was like, when you have tennis, it's normal. Soccer, people are playing at 15 years old. And every other sport pretty much. But he was like, basketball and football, it's interesting that those sports don't allow you to come straight out of high school. And by not allowing you to come out of high school, there's a lot of other people that's making a lot of money, millions and billions of dollars, whether it's colleges, whether it's whatever. So what's your thoughts on specifically basketball players not being able to come? Because there was a point, some of the best players of all time have come out of high school. The greatest player of all time, right? LeBron.
Arguably.
So,
Arguably.
So what's your thoughts on
arguably, I'm with you.
What's your thoughts on players
arguably
coming out of high school and how does that impact?
Yeah, I think it. Look, in this era, again, like the idea that you have the option. I think with NIL now, with what we're doing with the G League, if it's overtime, if it's abroad, the fact that a young person can go and make money and take care of themselves, that in the way that they choose to. So if I can go to school and if I could have went to school and made X amount of money, like that would in my situation, that would have been like a world of difference. So it was less about like the control of entering the NBA or wherever, and it was the ability to be able to like take care of yourself and earn a salary and earn money based on other people profiting on you. I think that, to me, I think that's really important. Like when you get into the age and at what point, all those things are like collectively agreed upon between like leagues and players, right? Like so, that part I don't, I think the part that is like really important is that the players have the options and the abilities to be able to go and start making money, monetize, take care of themselves.
Do you think that players should be able to go to the NBA straight out of high school?
I think they are. I think it's something that's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's something that's good enough. I think obviously it's something that's good enough. But to say all of them, again, like it has to work for like both sides. It has to work for the leagues. Yeah. It has to work for the players, and the players have to agree that's the right thing. The leagues have to agree, have to get together to agree that this group of players should be able to be a part of our league. I think for us from a G League standpoint, having that option, I think it helps some of that conversation.
I feel like every time we hear that conversation, it's like, yes, there's a LeBron James, there's a Kobe Bryant, Tracy McGrady, but there's also a Corleone Young from your age,
Yeah.
from your day, where it's
Yeah.
like, or a Lenny Cook who
Yeah.
doesn't make it. But I want to stay with Ignite because I feel like the spreading and the growth of the brand is kind of not reliant, but it has a big purpose in having Ignite as a showcase team in a sense. Where I remember last year when it was like we all heard about Victor Wembanyama. When will we be able to see him to play? And it was like, okay, he's going to play versus Scoot in Ignite. And it was like, okay, now the focus is now on the league, right? We get to see the kids from Ignite, and now we get to see Vic. How is scheduling for that, right? Because that's not a regular team that's playing. They're playing an international team, and I know now we have another showcase. We have another star that's coming from France, and now you have Ron Holland on Ignite, who we all thought was going to Texas, is now on Ignite. How does that work in terms of scheduling and making it a showcase game?
Yeah, I mean, it's the coordination of it, you're trying to, obviously connect with, we're a league, you're trying to connect with a league. In this case, an international league, and, kind of tie in the timing of their season with the timing of our season, and, take one team and, bring them here. So, I mean, it gets it's not seamless. Like it's a lot of moving parts to it, and their Victor, their team played in the LNB Pro A League in France. So like the timing of their schedule of their league games to be able to come here and play those games against Ignite. Again, they had to do some things on their end to make it work. We had to do some things to make sure it made it work. This season we brought in the team from Australia, Perth, and they matched up against Ron and Matas Bruzelis. The idea is, again, like it started in, say with Scoot and Victor, and you take, okay, the two most highly touted players in that draft. Again, this year, with Ron and Alex Sarr, same thing, two of the top highly touted. Like when, again, like bringing this talent from around the world and allowing people to be able to, see them, witness them before they, get to the NBA. I think we all remember, seeing, say, LeBron and Carmelo play in their like high school game at that time, and how legendary that was. My thought is like some years later, people will remember seeing Scoot and Victor, and that will be in that's in a G League game essentially. So, part of what we want to be able to do as a league is, introduce, the best young players around the world to people, ahead of the NBA.
Is there a process, right? If a kid is super talented, let's say, he's top 10 in his high school class, is there a process for them to become a member of Ignite? Or like, how do you do that? Do you sit down with 20 guys and say, all right, these 5 or these 3 are the ones that we're going to allow to be on the team? Or is there a tryout process?
I mean, I think it's probably more of an education process, and like it doesn't fit for everyone. Like everyone won't, think it's the right decision for them. Like this year, the Ignite team this year had more draft eligible, I think 8. Like that's the most like we've had, in the league at one time. And then I think, throughout the league, we probably have another 8 or 10. That's something a lot of people don't know. Like there are other guys that can go in the draft. They just play on our other standard G League teams. So like the opportunity is there. We explain. Coach Jason Hart is the coach. He explains it to everyone. Andre Barrett is like our program director. They explain it. You remember Dre?
It's crazy. You saying Jason Hart? I remember him playing at Syracuse.
Yeah. So they explain, like to families and educate them, and this is what it's about. And for the most part, so far, I think we're, kind of growing to a point. Where, one team to, for that demographic of players is tough. But we've been able to take care of the guys and give them opportunity.